Hi everybody, welcome to a tutorial on how to brew iced tea on your coffee brewer. First thing we're going to do is just go over some of the features of the brewer so we understand what the buttons do, how to navigate when we go to programming, and how to switch out our brew baskets for iced tea. So your coffee brewer comes standard with 3 buttons right here, A, B, and C. You've got your full and your half batches, and of course you have your on and off to enable all of these buttons to work. You've got your standard coffee filter right there. Something you're going to have to add in order to brew iced tea on this machine is a separate brew basket. This brew basket is specific to iced tea, and the biggest difference is the hole in the bottom of this one versus the hole in the bottom of this one. This will actually let the tea steep. If you were to use this, the water would flow through the tea too fast and we would have a weak and watery product. These are available from us here at Coda. You can just call us on our main line, 303-292-2040, and we can get this out to you. They're also probably available online. One thing you want to note if you get one online is if we look closely on this one, it does say quick brew right here, and we do not want a quick brew filter. And so what that quick brew is the small fitting right here is too big. It has a larger hole in the middle. So we actually switch these out to a more restrictive flow rate so we get the water steeping more with the tea and get the flavor profile we want out of the iced tea. So I can show you guys how to switch that. What you're gonna do is put your hand down inside of the filter, hold the screen, take a flathead screwdriver, and that comes right out of there. What we have is the 2 parts right there. We'll get rid of that one. We'll take our newer one that has the smaller hole in it. Anytime I put one of these on, I want to make sure I get rid of this quick brew sticker so we know we have the smaller hole inside on that basket. We'll take our new one. Save this screen too. These are interchangeable, so if this ever gets clogged down the road, you can still use the screen from the original one. It's just the bottom little funnel tip that is different. We'll take the funnel tip, place it right down in there. We'll take the screen, and we just screw those 2 items together. Okay, with our funnel fully assembled, we now have what we'll use to brew our iced tea. Let's go a little bit to the buttons here on the machine. A couple of things. We'll have a close-up here in a second, but there's a small hidden dot right here that actually acts as our access into programming. It's important to know where that's at. Once we're in programming, we're going to use the A, B, and C buttons to actually navigate through the programming with what's said here on the screen. Let's bring the camera closer. Okay, now we're ready to go actually get into the programming and set a recipe for iced tea. The way we access programming on one of these brewers is the small hidden button we were talking about here. You can see a tiny dot. We're going to press and hold that. We're going to press and hold past the brew lockout until it says set language. Once we see that, we know we're in the programming. If for some reason when you press and hold that button, it does not allow you into the programming, there is one more switch that could have been flipped inside the brewer in order to lock you out of programming. So let's show you what that is real quick. If we come up here, I've taken out this screw and that screw right there. The top of the brewer just pops off then. Older models just have 1 screw on them. And we can look at the back of the board. And on the back of the board right here, we see the words lock and unlock. We need to make sure that white switch is in the unlock position. If that's in the lock position, you will not be allowed to program the brewer. Alright, we've got the top of the machine buttoned back together. We've confirmed we're in the unlock position so we can enter programming on our machine. We're going to go back to our hidden button. Again, press that all the way through until it says set language. Once we're here, we can now see that there's the no and the yes, and those correspond to button A and button C. If we wanted to change the language, we could hit button C corresponding to yes, and it would give us a menu to change that. We definitely don't want to do that. We're going to hit no. Now you can see that we have the words metric, done, and English. English is flashing, meaning that's the one selected. Button B corresponds to done, meaning when we have the one we want flashing, we can hit done and move on. We're now going to review a recipe. So we'll hit yes, and we'll find the recipe that we want to modify to be our T button. So what I like to use is if we go next, which is button C, we can go all the way to the end of this menu. There's a whole bunch of recipes already programmed in here. Oops. And there's one that says, went too far. Hot tea. You notice what happened is I accidentally hit next one more time. It took me to the next menu. There's another hidden button back here that's a back button. So I went back to review recipes, hit yes again, and then went through and made sure to stop on the hot tea. Once we're on hot tea, we're going to hit button A for modify. So our brew ounces. We want 64 ounces to be set for our brew ounces. So I'll hit minus and bring that down to 64. If you press and hold, you'll notice it'll start to go really fast, and when you get close, you can get it set. One thing I like to do here is set that for both the full and the half. We're going to be brewing 1.5 gallons, so that's the size of our iced teas, so we'll make sure they're both set the same, so we won't have a mistake and have a button set wrong. So the full is flashing. I've got that set at 64. I'll go ahead and hit the half, and we notice that it was already from the factory set at 64. So we'll hit done. It now says, do you have 2 batches done? What that's asking us is, have we set both our full and our half, meaning the 2 batches. So we did set both those to 64, so we can hit yes. We want no bypass, so bypass should be at 0 on both the half and the full. We'll hit done. Again, it says, did you make sure you do that for both of them? And we hit yes. We do not need a pulse brew for hot tea, so we're going to hit no. Next, we have a drip time. This is how long we want the brewer to just say, I'm dripping out more water until it's fully done with the tea. This is an arbitrary time. Because we're going to have steeping with the iced tea, we want to set this pretty high. So we're going to actually turn this up to about 3 minutes. Again, we'll do half and full. Hit done. It'll ask if we had both buttons done. We again did both, so we'll hit yes. And now it tells us hot tea setup was complete. The next thing we want to do is take that recipe we just created and assign it to a button. So we're going to hit yes, we want to assign a recipe. Brew switch A is probably already your coffee, so we can just hit done. We don't want to change that. Brew switch B, we can set to whatever we want. There is a disabled, which means that that button will not be on or working. We're going to set that one to disabled, just so we have some spacing between the 2 buttons that work. And now we're on brew switch C. We're going to go through, find our hot tea that we just programmed, hit done, and now that's set on that button. Once we're done programming, the next thing we want to do is test to make sure this is going to work, and we'll actually show how to do a full brew. To get out of programming and reset the brewer, we simply hit the on-off button, You'll see it flash. Once it says ready to brew, we'll hit that one more time to make sure our amber light comes on, and now we're ready to brew. Now we're actually going to brew our 1.5 gallon iced tea. The brewer's going to brew the 64 ounces we set of hot tea. We'll be required to then mix 1 more gallon of cold water into our tea vessel. To start the brewing process, we take our tea basket, we put the same filters we use for coffee down inside of there. We'll take a packet of our tea made for 1.5 gallons. We'll make sure the tea's level in the bottom of the brew basket. We'll slide that in, and we can really use any vessel we want as long as it holds the 64 ounces to brew. We can be full or half because we set both those as the same. We come to our button C, you'll hear it click, it'll give us our brew time, and away it goes. So that's going to take roughly 6 minutes. It's about a 3-minute, 15-second brew time, plus our 3-minute drip time to get our hot tea in here. While that's brewing, we're going to come over to our tea vessel and pour in exactly 128 or 1 gallon of cold water. An easy way to get that is to grab a blender pitcher, and basically you're going to measure out 32 ounces 4 times. So I'll pour this one in. We'll let that brew, and we'll come back and finish it up in just a second. Okay, so our hot tea is finished brewing here. I've got our 1 gallon of cold water poured into our tea vessel. And then just going to take the hot tea. Sometimes it's easier to take that lid off. Pour that or dilute that over our gallon of cold water. And right from the front, we've now got iced tea ready to go. Hi everybody, welcome to a tutorial on how to brew iced tea on your coffee brewer. First thing we're going to do is just go over some of the features of the brewer so we understand what the buttons do, how to navigate when we go to programming, and how to switch out our brew baskets for iced tea. So your coffee brewer comes standard with 3 buttons right here, A, B, and C. You've got your full and your half batches, and of course you have your on and off to enable all of these buttons to work. You've got your standard coffee filter right there. Something you're going to have to add in order to brew iced tea on this machine is a separate brew basket. This brew basket is specific to iced tea, and the biggest difference is the hole in the bottom of this one versus the hole in the bottom of this one. This will actually let the tea steep. If you were to use this, the water would flow through the tea too fast, and we would have a weak and watery product. These are available from us here at Coda. You can just call us on our main line, 303-292-2040, and we can get this out to you. They're also probably available online.